TC Backer.
We are live.
What's going on, everyone? I'm Chris Baker.
And I'm Ty Backer.
Welcome to episode 92 of Behind the Tool Belt with TC Backer Construction. We got some good stuff, good guests here tonight.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be talking about the Workforce Now program. We're going to be talking about the differences between the old school and the new school. We're going to be talking about the 21 Turkey Salute and some of the things that we got coming up here. Hopefully everyone's enjoying their week.
Yeah.
We're going to hit a little bit of a rainy spell today and tomorrow, but we're supposed to be back to beautiful weather Friday. Welcome everyone. We got Glenn, we got Denny, we got Pappy, Tyler Richards.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So
good stuff.
hop right into it.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff going on here. I see already Colin and Kim and Wendy, Schaefer, Derek's mom. One of the things that we as a team, take pride in is a couple things, but one of the things that we want to talk about tonight is the Workforce Now program. Okay, so what that is, it's YBA started it, it's powered by the YBA, and it is to influence students into getting into the trades. They do a lot of things for high schools. We did an interview the other day with them, so they can show this video. My interview to the parents and the students to try to encourage them to get into the trades and stuff like that. And we're big advocates for that.
Mm-hmm.
We have all different age groups. That's why we thought tonight would be a pretty cool episode of, if you really think about it, I think there's 3 or 4 generations of tradesmen here, sitting here tonight. So I thought what we thought we could talk about tonight, maybe start with Denny and ask him a couple of questions like, how long have you been doing this? Where did you start out? Who was your your mentor, for lack of better terms? What's changed?
Right.
From then to now. Did it seem like there was more younger people involved, and then there was a generation behind you that you could turn your trade over to, and things of that nature. Where it is with Glenn now, what you see, what I see, what it was like. What it's like now, and hopefully where we see the future going to be.
Right.
So I just thought that would be a good,
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure.
good topic tonight. And
Right, and especially because everyone wants to say you gotta go to college to be successful. You gotta do this. You gotta have a 4-year, nowadays 8-year degree sometimes in order to be successful, to get a good job. I know everyone sitting at this table is living well, and I don't think there's many college degrees sitting here. So it's just going to be interesting to hear the differences, especially with technology these days. You know what I mean? The learning curve for guys on this side of the table was probably a little bit different than it was on that side of the table. But one of the things that we thrive on, that we spoke about last week, being able to hit those learning curves and run with them, and how fortunate we were to have started that process before COVID.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we were one of the fortunate businesses that were able to just keep moving. Business didn't really change too much. It's just how we reported to work. So it's just going to be interesting to hear all the different things around the table from the different age groups.
Yeah, I think it'll be cool. I think it'll be good. I think it'll be a real good conversation. Especially, I'm curious to hear what Denny has to say and Glenn has to say on how different it was then compared to now. And hopefully we can make that come back around, or have maybe learned from that.
Right.
What we think so different. So, so Denny, why don't you, if you don't mind telling everybody, how old are you and when did you get into this?
I was probably 14, 15, working helping my uncle, and I'm going to be 60, so it's 40 some years. They didn't treat you well back then. They didn't. You worked with your dad, you know what it's like. You worked with his dad. You got called every name in the book. You got slapped, you got kicked, you got hit. You told you were stupid. You'll never be nothing.
Yeah.
And here we are today. And you can't talk to the kids today like they talk to us. It doesn't work.
Right.
But quick to go somewhere else, real quick. And I can't do that. We had pressure put on us to do something. You have to do this job. Today the kids don't want to do that. They just, it's not, I can't, and that's the first thing you do. This, I can't, I don't want, And these things here are everybody's worst enemy. I mean, you guys know I don't like them.
That's the old school guy.
That's the old. And you know, you got the kids today, this is in one hand, they're trying to work over here. Well, you can't have this in your hand and work. You gotta put it in the truck and leave it there.
Yeah.
But it is, you know, it's different. I mean, the old guys taught you,
Yeah.
and you did something wrong, they criticized you for it, but you learned. You had to do it. You had to make mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, you don't learn.
Right.
Exactly.
How hard was it? Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. What did you start out doing? Like when you were working with your uncle and your dad, what were you guys doing? Were you doing masonry? Were you doing roofing, siding, windows, all of it?
Carpenter.
Carpentry work?
Yeah.
Who were you doing work for back then? Who was the big player back in the day?
Oh, I really couldn't tell you because there was so many. Everybody kind of did. I helped do stuff at Delwood.
Yeah.
Delwood, what's the one up there in Dover?
I can't remember the name of it. Who was the builder back then? Was it, I know Yanover years ago.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
was it?
yeah.
Like
It
Tim
was
Passion,
back
he's been
then.
around forever, but-
Oh man, there was a guy down at the end of Dover who Gross was building.
Who did you used to work for? Shoemaker?
I worked for Shoemaker years ago. Yeah, when I got out of school.
Yeah.
Worked for him. Yeah, worked there and Old York Homes and Paul B. Deller worked for them. Was right over in Molly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You definitely have been in the game a long time.
Yeah.
So just to, talk about, the difference between then and now, and like you were talking about earlier, it was the way that I was raised. My dad was old school.
Yeah.
He ran it with an iron fist. You know what I mean? Basically, it was his way or the highway. And back then, you couldn't show emotions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You couldn't cry. It wasn't like there was crying on the job site, not like there's crying on the job site today. But I think one of the big differences is that there's a lot more compassion. And whether if you guys know it or not, because we don't see it where we work, is that, the average tradesman is 55 years old. So that means in the next 10 years, you guys are going to be retiring, okay? That's pretty scary if things don't turn around quick, fast, and in a hurry, because honestly, for doing this for 40 years, hell, you're probably not too far away. Not that I ever would think that you would be the one that would retire. I'll probably retire before you retire, the way that you go. But what I'm saying is that's, we don't see it, I guess is the point that I'm trying to make. We have guys from 17 years old up to Denny's age. Okay, I believe you're the elder statesman,
He's at least
right?
38, 39.
What?
Other than maybe
40 years
Vic might be teetering that line. Since Denny doesn't know exactly who he is. But what I'm saying is we how fortunate, like you said, we've already started this before pre-pandemic. We have age ranging from 17 to 57. I'm going to bust you out there.
That's good.
Vic is 57 years old, but doesn't look like it. And neither do you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Neither do you.
Yeah, people find out how old I am and they go, no,
Right.
you're in
Right.
40 couple. Yeah?
Right.
Be inside this, look outside sometimes.
Exactly. So Glenn, give us a little bit about your background. Tell us your age, what generation. You're probably right in that 3.5, 4th generation.
Before we move on to Glenn, I do have a question for you.
Go
Denny.
for it.
One of the things that is interesting to me is you spoke about, the difference on how you have to be with people these days.
Mm-hmm.
You have been in long enough that you've been in a managerial or lead position through that change. How difficult is it to, or was it to adjust to, at what point did you realize, like, I can't yell at these guys anymore? You know what I mean? I can't throw this at him and tell him he's stupid anymore. Like, people don't accept that anymore. You know what I mean? Was that a hard thing? At first I'm sure it's just this guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just this guy that I can't do that with. But eventually you realize it's like just people in general anymore just kind of look sideways at you when you yell at somebody. And was that a challenging thing to get used to?
Yeah, very. I mean, the other day, the new kid Brandon, I kind of got a little loud with him, and Derek was like, "Don't do that, don't do that." But he's. I think he's a good kid. I think he can get along.
Mm-hmm.
But everything wants to be fast paced for him. He's more of a born in
Right.
China closet. Yeah, like
yeah.
Big Andy, remember Big
Yeah.
Andy?
Yep.
Kind of like him. Everything's, we'll go 100 mile an hour, dude, you're working on a stormboard.
Right.
Doesn't work that way.
Right.
You can't go 100 mile an hour.
Yeah, speed comes with experience.
Yes.
Yes, and
Slow
that's
down,
what the
get
old school
right.
helps with the new school.
Right,
You know,
right.
that's why it's so imperative that you guys hang around long enough for that next generation. And honestly, my thought behind where some of the issue came in, and this is just my experience only, when the recession hit, there wasn't another generation after me to pass the torch down to. And I've said this a couple different times, because when the market crashed like that, like I know for us, when it was new construction, we went from doing, back then in 2008, 300 homes a year to 30 to 3. Okay, it just it fell off. At that point in time, I had put my tool pouch back on. Okay, so I went back to work. I was painting vinyl siding. Whatever we could scrounge up, whatever we could do with the skeleton crew of guys that I kept on, and we got through it. But there wasn't like that, like when I came up through, there was the Pats, the Todd Rawhauser that watches, the Dinks who owns Dover Roofing now, Rick McAllister with Part 1 Construction, who's my brother-in-law. You know what I mean? There was the Jaybirds of the world that Todd taught me how to cut siding for 3 or 4 experienced hangers. And you want to talk about rough. Okay, some days there was 5 experienced hangers where I had to cut siding for all of those guys that were yelling numbers down to me. And I learned real quick, you better start writing stuff down.
Better not have to
Then,
repeat themselves.
when they get up there, you got 2 other guys over here that's still hanging siding. Now these retards need frickin' metal bend. So I had the brake behind me. I'm rolling frickin' coil stock out bending. They're still yelling numbers at me. They didn't care. Okay? I hook it on the line. They pulled up. It was wrong. They'd throw them. They'd throw them. They wouldn't even try to get them to work.
Yeah.
And that was the generation. But there wasn't that generation after me. I feel like there's like this generational gap, like a 10-year gap right there. Because if you think about it, if you go around the table right now, okay, so there's his age,
You can say it 60.
60. So you got your 60-year-olds.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
44.
44. I'm 45. How old are you?
34.
34.
28.
28. So you see the gap from the 60, but there's the 50s, the 45-year-olds,
Yeah.
the 45-year-olds to the 34-year-olds to the what
28.
28-year-olds.
There's almost 10 to 15 years between.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Isn't that crazy how there's a pattern there? And then as technology evolved, okay, so now you got your PlayStations and you got Zoom and the pandemic kind of like accelerated that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Especially in school. The kids didn't even have to go to school. They're doing homeschool through Zoom and stuff like that. Now, fortunately, like you had said earlier, we were kind of sort of prepared for this. We just got really good at doing it now.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? We were dabbling with those kind of things, giving quotes and estimates remotely. We don't even have to show up to anybody's house anymore.
Right.
We can sell a roof sitting at your desk today. That's how far technology has advanced. You can hire a kid today. And that's the thing that we have to accept, because that's what they're going to be used to. We can hire kids today that don't even know how to have to read a tape measure. Did that make sense? They don't even have to know how to read a tape measure today. You simply just punch in an address, send it out to RoofScope, send it out to EagleView. It comes back. The only thing manually at this point in time in our system is that you have to put those dimensions in manually. But if we switch to a different program, you wouldn't have to do that. It would communicate with our CRM.
Right.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
You don't even have to. I could be selling roofs in Colorado right now. I could market. Okay? We could be marketing. We could have billboards up there. We could run TV ads. We could be doing newspaper ads. I wouldn't have to even get on one roof out there. And now there's companies you can hire that'll send out a freaking, what's that helicopter thing that you have? Drone. Yeah, you can hire these local companies now. That's becoming real big. So if I wanted to get eyes on it, they would send one of their teammates out there, take some drone pictures that I could throw in the estimate, and I could check to see if there was any storm damage.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Great.
That's how far we came.
Yeah.
From whooping ass to not even knowing how to read a tape measure and everything in between. I mean, think about that. That's freaking crazy. And I think that's why it's so important that we have to adapt. We have to embrace the change.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? We really have to embrace that change, and you've done a great job of all people.
And all that's
Because you're
great.
old school through and through, honey.
And all that's great, but till it's time to put a guy on the job.
Right?
Yes.
Then he better be able to read a tape measure,
Right.
then I'm gonna start screaming.
Yes.
Basically, what
Right.
we're saying is, nowadays, in a exterior construction, any construction company, there's a place for anyone. You don't have to know how to read a tape measure to work at a construction company.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's a spot for you.
But it helps.
Yes.
But it
It
definitely
definitely
helps.
helps.
It definitely helps, for
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, let's move on to Glenn here.
Yeah.
On what you got going on.
Yeah,
So
man.
when did
Give
you
us
start?
background.
Alright, I started right out of high school. I mean, I helped my dad and all that before that. Started right out of high school. I went to, well, I started working with my dad at Stanley's, and then I left there, went to Shea Roofing, worked for Shea Roofing for a while. And then I left there, went to East and Supply, doing gas fireplaces and stuff, and doing a lot of their roof work until I fell in '98. And I left there, and then I went to work for Craig Hammonds, which taught me mostly everything. And we did a lot of $1 million houses, there with Bent Creek and stuff like that. I'm from the other side of the river, where the grass is greener.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's where I learned a lot.
Amongst a lot of other things over there,
Yeah.
other than just the grass being. I just had to put that in there.
You seen that firsthand tonight.
Yeah, I did. Someone actually came out of the closet tonight.
But, you know, that's where I learned a lot from. And then what happened, and it was, I think in '04, was when the economy, right before '08, we had a little spell in '04. The main builder we did work for, the guy, the builder turned bankruptcy, and he had all his eggs in one basket, so he got burned. So basically, he couldn't pay me, and I said, well, you know what, it's time to go on my own, I got a family, you know, got to eat.
Yeah.
So I went on my own, and the builder gave me a chance, and I did a little bit of everything for them. And like I said, I got into other builders and everything, and finally, like a lot of it was trying to find help.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, I'm old school, like Denny said, I'm one of the guys that used to yell on the job site all the time.
Yeah.
And these kids cannot do it.
Me too.
They can't take it. You know, you're 1 year older than I am, so you know exactly what I'm talking about.
That's how we were talking.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
I
how it
mean,
was when I first started working.
I mean, it used to be, I mean, like, I remember when I worked for Shea, if guys had a difference on job site, they literally, they beat each other up, go to the parking lot, fight, it's over and done. I mean, and they change.
Yeah.
Joke in the backseat together. and
Yes, yes.
That's how
I mean, it used to be, if you were a roofer, most of them were either drunks or drunks, or single religious.
Right.
And days are going.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
that's how it used to be.
Right.
You know, the times have changed with that.
They have. And I'm glad you brought that point up because there is a stigma when it comes to roofing contractors.
You gotta be uneducated, you gotta be a drunk, or you gotta be a drug addict.
Right.
It's not like that, no.
No, it's not. I mean, we're trained, we're certified.
Yes.
I think manufacturers have really helped promote and push, you know, the technology envelope, and that's the other thing I was talking about, that we have to embrace that. I mean, there's certain certifications and criteria. Back in the day, there really wasn't, you know, let's talk about how the codes evolved.
Well, we didn't have, I mean, we didn't think about it.
No.
Like the stuff we do now, I mean, shit. We'd
Yeah.
be in a lot of fines. 'Cause
Right.
We didn't think about it, you just did it.
Yeah.
Right.
You didn't tie off the roofs, you never had hard hats, you know, ladders never above, I mean, you just did it.
We're
You're
talking
tired
before
of
you
it.
hit the ground.
Yeah, you ratchet, like the job today, I was there with Denny, I said, I'm never doing houses like that. Where I took 30-foot planks in between, put a chain to make the plank longer.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're relying on chain and a ratchet strap to make a 60-foot
Wooden
plank.
contracts.
Yes, that's what started out with,
Yeah,
wooden pole
me
jacks.
too.
And, you know, little 2x4 snap them sometimes.
Yep, Douglas fir.
Yep, it's scary, I mean, and they snap.
Yeah, we have to brace them up
Yes,
down on the ground. We would run stakes in the ground with a 2x4 to keep it from bowing.
yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what I started with.
And if you needed to go higher, you added more to it.
Yeah, you cut 6 or 8 feet off and add a piece to it.
Yeah.
Piece alongside of that, and
Yeah.
put a
And
couple
you
of
never
braces
let
on
it
the back
hit the
of them.
You could, that was one of our biggest things,
Yes.
do not let them things hit the ground. You know, just fall.
Yeah.
Whatever it took to get them down safely, man, we brought them down safe because we knew our lives depended on it, but I just think our balls were bigger back then. We didn't know any better. We were a little more ignorant then.
Yes.
things are today and the technology, and of course we get a little bit older. Would I still get on a wooden pump jack? Probably not 48 feet in the air. You know what I mean? But I would probably go up, a standard 18-foot home with, a 12-foot gable on it. Yeah, I'd probably do that, but not what we used to do, man.
Yeah, I remember one builder, and like I said, we didn't have the ocean, and this was in Maryland. Back then, you could get away with it. I mean, I had 48-foot pumps, poles up, and one brace at the top.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, and you didn't think nothing about it. You look down, and that thing's more like this.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, you're just there, you're there to get the job done.
Yes, or they're gonna hire someone else to come in.
Yes, I mean, that's where one of the things, OSHA, regulation, and everything, actually is for the better, because it is a lot safer.
For sure. The object
I
is
see a lot of guys
get the job done and get everyone home safe.
Yes, we didn't think about it back then. We just did it.
Right.
Yeah.
And the rule was too, at least for the people I work for, you're fired before you hit the ground.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how it was.
And if you're going to fall, you don't grab a hold of somebody else is falling, and you go to grab a hold of you, you push it.
Yeah.
That's what the number one rule used to be when I worked at Shaver.
We used to say tuck and roll, man.
Yep.
Tuck and roll.
Yeah.
It's just crazy how things have changed, how, times have evolved, and,
Yes.
I can't pinpoint like the exact moment that everything changed, but, I am old enough that I was still, that was still kind of the way that it was when I started working construction. It was one of them things, if you're cutting for someone, they better not have to repeat themselves.
Yes.
It better be right, or they're gonna throw it at you. You show up for work every day.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're terrified to go back when
Right.
you actually
And
go
that was back in the
It's-
day, that's when if you party, you stay up all night long and just go to work.
Right,
And
yes.
wearing the same clothes.
Yep.
You don't get, that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of, maybe it does, because I'm not
Yeah,
that
it's not
involved.
like it used to
I
be.
just know there's a lot of call-offs.
Yeah.
If we played hard and we worked even harder, so we play hard.
Yep.
And that's just how it was.
One of my pet peeves, like some of the guys I'm from, you never stood around. If you, like I said, I started out as a side and cut guy,
Yeah,
you never stood there. If you got a break, you're picking up trash. It don't matter, there's
Yeah.
one little peak, you're picking up trash in between, you never stand around.
yeah.
Because the guy used to work for me, Woody, he threw shingles at his own kid. He's very old school, he's Denny's age. And his kid was standing, he took shingles, threw it down everyone's ground, and said, no, he's sitting, you're working.
Yeah,
Yeah.
grab
I
and
mean,
brace
that's just
and
how it
stuff.
was then.
Yeah, for sure.
It is.
And not that it can't be that way, we just gotta figure out a way to finesse, the old school into the new school things, because obviously, no one likes to be talked to that way, the way that we were talked to, and the way that we actually had talked to people in our younger days, that's where I'm trying to think, because I wasn't always in a management position, but at some point in time over my career, I had realized that I was being more part of the problem than I was the solution. Like if I had to go someplace and left my guys on site, okay, and I came back and they didn't have done, completed what I thought should have been completed, I'd have lost my mind. Lost my mind. I wouldn't have took a minute to find out, what happened.
Right.
Hey boss, we didn't have enough equipment. Hey, the wind picked up. Hey, so-and-so went home sick, or whatever the case would be, opposed to, coming with a solution. Okay, so we need, all right, I'll run the ABC, I'll run the Bradco, back then it was Bradco. I'll get some more pump jacks, we didn't have 6-foot extensions, we could only run it up so high. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And then this was the problem. I'm pointing the finger, I had 3 pointing back. I didn't have enough equipment on the job site.
Right.
And I'm like, well, you should have did it like this and you should have did it like that. Well, they didn't work off ladder and ladder jacks. They weren't used to that. That wasn't, I would stick, if you're not getting up high, if you put a 32-foot ladder right on that plank and you extend it up as high as you can go to get that last piece in there.
And that's
Why didn't you back the truck in here and put the ladder in it,
right on
put the
the
pull
bed.
jack in the back of the truck?
Yes. Well, I can't ask people to do
Yeah,
that.
and that's how it was. That's
Because there's a fine line there that I will never ask you to do something that I never done myself. There's a fine line there. Things were different when I was younger.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what the way we were taught. They backed the truck up. We'd stick the ladder or the pump jack right on the bed of the truck and they'd get us up there, man.
The extra 4 feet or whatever. it's
Yeah.
called,
I did a beach house years ago for the one builder.
Right.
And we're down there and my pump weren't long enough. We stacked up 10 center block blocks
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
put a pole on top of it.
Yeah.
I mean, just to get it done.
Yeah.
I mean, if we ever caught,
I know.
It was not nasty.
Thank God nothing bad happened to any of us.
Yeah.
After
You
they
didn't think
was
about it, you just
Right.
did it.
It wasn't something they thought about now. Now it's, that's on the forefront of your mind.
Yes.
When you get on a job site, the very first thing that you're grabbing is your safety equipment.
Yeah.
Your hard hat, your
Right.
harness, all that kind of stuff. A lot of the guys roll around from job to job because in the service world, you're moving 10, 12, 14 different job sites. You see them driving from one job to the other, they still got their harness on.
Yes. And I see
It's
that a
just,
lot.
you put that on in the morning when you get to your first job, and they probably don't take it off until they leave their last job.
Right.
It's just a part of your
Mhm.
attire.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
back in the day, you probably would have got made fun of if you put a harness on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Someone would have called you soft.
I'll be honest, I've been the first one to make fun of them.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
That's how it
you know what I
works.
mean, that's how it was then.
Well, and that's where compassion comes in and empathy too. You know what I mean? Do you really seriously want to see somebody get hurt?
Yeah, absolutely not.
Just because that's the way we were taught and that's the way we were raised, we have to at some point in time turn it around and say, would I really want something bad to happen to him just because that's the way that we used to do things?
Right.
Or that's the way that I used to be spoke to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what, and the whole point tonight of tonight's topic is okay. So we have to break those old traditions, but there are still a lot of old school traits that we can implement along with today's technology and embrace that
Yeah.
to encourage students to want to come, entice them to want to come over here to our side. You don't have to go get a 4-year degree.
No.
You don't have to and run up $150,000 in debt. You don't have to. I feel like, yes, it might take you 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay, let's use Ricky or who started Green that's been here for a minute? Tate?
Yeah.
Okay, Tate was Green.
Tape with green.
Right, look at him now. He's in his own truck.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He's making a living, he's providing, doing what he's, doing the things that he has to do. And I said Ricky because Ricky had painting experience, but he's been here, I think March of 2020 is when he started here.
COVID.
Okay?
Yeah.
Right, okay? Was green as green could be to our industry. Okay? Look at him now. What's he doing now? He's running his own truck
Yeah.
when we have enough people here. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's
wasn't
running.
Derek the same way? Derek was pretty green when he started.
Derek King.
He had some background now.
Yeah.
He had
Yeah.
some background.
Right. But his age group,
Yeah.
okay, that just goes to show you that he didn't have to go get a 4-year degree
No.
in order to raise his 2 kids.
Right.
3.
3 kids, yes, 3 kids. Thank you for correcting me. Has his own house.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Are the conditions always the greatest? No, but where are they going to be? It doesn't matter if you're working indoors or outdoors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes job site conditions, but where else are you going to go and have that freedom
Right.
that we have? Do you know what I mean? You're outside running around all day.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
we
who
were
wouldn't
just
want
talking
to do
about
that?
that today.
You know, who wouldn't want to do that? Yes, sometimes it's really hot. Yes, sometimes it's really cold. But you learn to adapt to those environments. You know how to layer up.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You know to follow the sun around the house. You know, you learn to.
Try.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You try.
Yeah.
You learn to start earlier so you can quit earlier if the job allows that. You know what I mean? But that's what we did. We would start super freaking early in the morning when it was cooler, and then sometimes we'd leave and then come back
Yeah.
because it would cool off, and we would come back and get another 3-4 hours in, especially over the summer months because Christ, it stays daylight till 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
If you got back there at 4 o'clock, yes, it was still scorching, but by 5:30, it started to cool off, and you'd be able to still chase the sun around the
Yeah,
house and find whether if you're on a roof or doing siding
Or find a shady side.
Yes, find the shady side. Yes, yeah, for sure. I mean, there's just things that you do, but I don't know what else I would be doing right now. I was asked a question the other day. If I had an opportunity to do it all over again, would I do the same exact thing? And my answer to that was absolutely. I wouldn't change a thing. I couldn't imagine if I went to college, which I had at one point in time had plans of going to college. Okay. I don't know if I'd have been able to make it. One, and this is the other thing too. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to take us hostage here tonight, but the one thing, and I just lost my train of thought, but shit, I totally lost my train of
If you
thought.
went to college.
Yeah, if I went to college, I really don't know. Okay, this was the thing that I was saying. If there's any kids out there that is watching this show tonight, and this is just for me. Okay, I wasn't good in school. I wasn't good in school. I couldn't read very well. I couldn't write very well. And I had suffered from ADHD, and back then they didn't know what that was. And I'm sure if you suffer from it now, and I'm only assuming, I've never been diagnosed. I'm not even going to say what my nickname was, because Tyler will probably run that.
He's been waiting for that moment.
Yeah. And this was the biggest thing. And I was asked another question. If I could give any advice to any student that was something I regretted not doing more of was ask questions. Okay, first and foremost. That was my biggest thing, of sitting in that classroom and raising my hand and saying that I didn't understand.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Because the way that I needed to be taught, I couldn't just listen to a teacher ramble on. I'd get lost. I'd start spacing out. I'd see a butterfly going across, looking out. My attention span, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't pay attention. And I was terrified of what someone was going to say, or they were going to laugh at me, or whatever. But when I had always worked with my dad. My dad had always made me work on the weekends with him. And I liked it. I liked the satisfaction that I got out of it. I didn't like the way that he treated me. But when the project was completed, I liked that feeling that it gave me.
Yeah.
Do you know that I stained that? Because my dad's a real big woodworker. I mean, he could build furniture and cabinets like true carpenter skills with the lathe, and the router and the planer and joiner and all that old school tools. And I'm sure there's still carpenters out there that do that stuff, but not as many. But he grew up in a sawmill and on a farm.
Yeah.
So they built their own things. That's all they did. It was very, very depressed where they grew up. So when I got out of high school, I had a decision to make. I was playing baseball. I had a decision to make. I was being scouted, so am I going to go play ball? Am I going to go to school? Or am I going to go this direction? Now, there's a lot of circumstances that play into my decision, but my decision at that time, whether it be poor or not, and I'm sure in a lot of people's eyes that was a poor decision, because college was the way to go. But back then, they also had wood shop, they had industrial arts, they had all of these things that were in schools then. Okay, that I don't think are in schools anymore. Hell, there was 4-H club, there was the Future FFA, Future Farmers of America. I don't even know if they have. They do even know what that is?
Yes, they do.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Your country schools.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But those were the career choices that they had given us, those options. Well, anyhow, I chose construction. And I think I did pretty goddamn good for myself over the years. So my career choice at that time, and you, Denny, I mean, I've watched you over the years. Glenn, I've known of you. You've been very successful, and watching you come up through the ranks. And I know you had, and we'll get to you. And I'm taking the meeting here hostage a little bit, but this, like I said earlier, there's a couple of passions. Okay, first and foremost is family. Okay, family. All right, community, and this Workforce Now project.
Yeah.
Dude, it's got my.
Yeah.
It's got
Let me throw the stat out there as to
Yeah.
why we're so passionate, okay?
Yes.
By the year 2028, for anyone that doesn't know how many years away that is, that's 6 years and 3 months away from now.
Right.
There's going to be 3 million trades jobs to fill with people that leave the trades.
No.
3 million trade jobs just in this country that we're going to have to fill. And you want to talk about what builds this country?
Yeah.
You know, what this country runs off of? This country runs off the construction industry, the farming industry, the
Yeah.
transportation industry.
Right.
That's what runs this country.
Right.
That is what decides our economy. That's when we're booming, people are building. You know what I mean? When we're not building, we're not booming. So you take those 3 million jobs, and if we don't fill them, man, that's called depression.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to create a depression, a real depression.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There
labor's
ain't no
depression.
robots, there's no
Yeah.
technology that's going to fix that.
There's very few, Glenn, Tyler, in the middle, me to him, or to me to you.
Right.
There's very few people in that middle age
Right.
to fill the gap.
Right.
Not many want to do it.
Right. We're relying on guys that are even younger than him.
Yes.
You know, those are the people that we gotta go after.
The
Because
scale or basin.
Yeah.
There's hardly any masons out there, lay bricks, blocks, do cement work,
How about stucco?
stucco.
And drive it.
Yeah.
Is anyone even doing that anymore?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
How about a coppersmith?
Yeah.
You just don't see us.
But this is the thing for you viewers watching,
There isn't even many guys who do standing seam roofs anymore.
right? Think about the supply and demand that it's gonna mean. What does supply and demand mean?
It means that if you have more of something and the supply is high, it can match the demand, so therefore it's not as expensive, it's readily available. If, you know, look at our housing market right now.
Right?
Prices are up at least 10%.
Because of materials.
Yes, yeah, and there's not houses out there to buy, so people are willing to pay top dollar going back and forth in bidding wars, which drives up the house.
Right.
The house isn't 10% higher.
Right.
That's the market right now. That's the market value in this current market.
That's a great.
Actually, Tyler just went through that on the house that
Yeah.
in the Santa Rosa house.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
went through
But,
that.
I mean, that's a great point. That's a great point, but think it on the other end of the spectrum here. What my point was, that you made a fantastic point of, that's gonna be scary. When there's a need for more homes, or commercial buildings,
Right.
or mechanics.
Right.
Like, you know, let's talk about airplane mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, people who make the bus, transits, the transportation, okay, but the supply and demand, okay, so if there's less labor force, but there's more of a demand, what they need to start thinking about is that if you went to school to be HVAC, okay, and let's say there's 150,000 HVAC techs in the state of Pennsylvania now, okay? And you just said that there's gonna be 3 million shoes that need to be filled.
I see where you're going.
Think about that for a minute, okay? Think about that. And with Zoom, okay, so go to school and become a teacher once. See how many teachers, the supply and demand for teachers there's gonna be compared to HVAC or plumbing or roofer.
Right.
Okay, so what the point I'm trying to make is in whatever year you just said, 2028, okay, double what you're making now.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's how much you're gonna be worth.
Yep.
That's how much you're gonna be worth. That's how much you're gonna be worth, because there won't be enough of us.
Yeah.
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 So why
People are gonna
not?
be scalping people, you know, they'll be calling you, hey, you want to
It's
come over
already
for
that
this?
way now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is now, we see it in the field now,
Yes.
but we have been fortunate enough to attract the younger generation, because I feel what we do is cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. You know what I mean? What we do is great, and the things that we do for the community, the things that we're able to do for our families attracts that. That positive energy attracts people
Right.
that we let off. And that's the thing, you know, we gotta find that happy medium. As much as I'd like to see you out there screaming at people all day long, because that's the way I was raised. Unfortunately, we can't, because I know shit's getting done then.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
You better get this done before he gets back.
Right. So whatever that stigma might be, so if a parent's listening and their kids are getting ready to graduate in the next couple of years, my suggestion is have them work a summer. See if they like it.
Right. Because it's not for everyone.
No.
It's not.
It's not.
But you can completely pull out of your mind that you cannot be successful. You know, you're just going to grow up to be a construction worker.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And use that as a negative, because I'm telling you right now, I have a college degree. And I make more money working here at a construction company than an entry-level position with my degree. I'll tell you that right now, and I'm still paying off my debt, and I ain't even using my degree.
Well, my son, like I said, I need some out in the summers, and I know help people I know on the weekends and stuff. And like you said, he works at Giant now, you know, I mean, and they're pretty decent. It ain't like when I worked in the grocery store, you know, when I was younger.
Right.
And he makes more money on the weekend than he will working at Giant all week.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, a lot of people don't realize that. You
Yeah.
put the hours in, I mean, it's not easy.
No.
You put the hours in, and, you know, work ethic's a big part of it.
Yes.
You know, there's a lot of money to be made,
That's a
especially for
big
the younger
part.
generation.
This isn't easy work.
Mm-hmm.
No.
What you do is not easy.
No.
It's not easy. But when you're done, you can look at it and say, I built that building, I did that house.
Right.
You know.
Right.
When
You
you
know,
drive
that pile
around,
of siding that's in there,
Yeah.
they just dump a pile of siding there.
Yeah.
You know, and you're looking at a blank canvas, and by the time you're done, especially one of those homes that has board and batten, and a little cedar shake, and the Dutch slap going back the sides and across the back. It's like, to open those boxes, start with the starter strip. Run your outside corner post, run your J channels around the window, and make that work with the foundation all cattywampus.
Yeah.
And to make and figure that out. Which side of the home are we going to start on? Okay, so when we get around it, it's all going to line up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? To be able to accomplish that. How about scaffolding setup? Okay, like so it's safe. I mean, that's a challenge too. There's people that I had worked with that just couldn't, figure out the scaffolding setup situation because, whether it be money was limited, getting first started out, you only had 4 or 2 pump jacks and a couple ladders. It was, how can we do this most efficiently? Because without the right equipment and tools, you're going to work slower.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not going to work as efficient. So being able to look at the home, where are we going to start, read the blueprint, figure out where the shutters are going, gable vents are going, what profile siding goes where. And a lot of people are like, well, siding's easy. It's easy. Maybe. Okay? Let's talk about the metalwork, because that's what separates the boys from the men.
Absolutely.
Okay? Let's talk about wrapping the garage doors. Let's talk about running Z-bend. Let's talk about bending around brick mold, the old school way.
Yeah.
Not just boxed out where it's all hollow and you can tap on it and start
Make it
banging.
look like brick
Well,
mold.
you just
Yes.
said that we're putting the storm door on. I pulled in, seen that brick one, I said, you don't see that too often anymore.
Metal fabricator.
Yeah.
Dress it up, make it sound any way you want to. If it sounds better that we start saying that you're not a siding installer, we'll label you as a metal fabricator.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whatever we have to do, but I feel like everyone sitting here has done well for themselves for the short period of time that you've been here and the amount of time that you've been. Denny's driving a Cadillac. For crying out
Oh,
loud.
you're
60
right.
60 years old. House is probably paid for. Driving a caddy. Should have retired probably.
He's got money in the mattress holder than me, bro.
Right.
He's amazing.
I'd like to see the dates on those bills.
They
I
made
would.
him $20 bills because he has all the old ones. in his mattress.
I'd like to see the dates.
Yeah.
But anyhow, sorry I keep going off on a tangent, but again, I'm passionate about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a need. It's a need. That stigma has to be broken, and hopefully, we can help at least in our local area. I mean, we can't. Obviously, we're not going to be able to make a dent in California or the West Coast or anything, but at least in our area, for our economy, our local economy, we can help do that.
You were saying about the money a while ago. A lot of kids want to come out of school now making $70,000-80,000 a year because that's where mom and dad think we need to be. Okay, there's money in this trade, but you have to be in the trade a little while to work for it and get there.
Right.
Just like anything.
I feel you gotta
You
earn
get
it.
what you put in.
Right.
You get back what you put in.
I feel you
If
gotta
you're
earn
just
it.
going to come and be a 80 skate guy, you're probably not going to make that much money in the trades unless you get into a skilled trade where you need a license. If you're a licensed electrician or something like that.
But still, you gotta start at the bottom and work your way up.
You have to start at the bottom and work your way up.
Hey,
You're not just going to go out and get
Cullen here says, I hate when people say it's just gutter. Come out with us for a few days. He said he's seen people quit. Listen, it's not gutter. What it is, it's water management.
Absolutely.
You're in the water management business, okay? So if we need to, you're government. You know what I mean? If we got to dress it up and put a skirt on it and put some lipstick on it to attract the younger generation, and maybe we need to start getting creative with it. You know what I mean? He's the one that prevents the $100,000 insurance claims because of someone's basement flooding. He controls the water that comes off someone's home. It's not just gutter.
And that's not an easy thing to do, man.
No.
He's training a new kid right now.
And then
you can't just pop up and put a piece of
Where's
gutter
the
wherever
water
you
going to
think
go
it
and
goes.
where's it going to freeze?
Right.
Yeah.
Shit, we can't put a downspout there because it's going to ice up the driveway, it's going to ice up the sidewalk, or it's going to flood the neighbor's basement. So there's some thinking in there. There is some science behind it.
You have to know the right level of pitch so that
Right.
your gutter's actually going to drain properly.
Right.
How many roof surfaces do you have draining into how many sticks of gutter? Do you need to have a 6-inch gutter because you have all the roof surfaces draining onto that
Right.
gutter that goes to the porch?
Where to
Does
put
that
that
need to be a
spot.
6-inch?
Where to put a diverter.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot more that goes into it than just hang an aluminum gutter up where you think it goes. There's a lot more.
I know Tyler's just eager to speak, like
Yeah.
that is. I know that.
Give us,
Eager.
give us a scoop here, Pat.
Let's get to the young stuff.
17?
Dropped out of high school, school degree, got into trade, and I'm here.
Awesome.
Started with Richard Jackson's Valley, Gate was
Yeah.
my mentor there.
Gotcha.
Went to taught him I was gonna stop at fascia siding with him, and then I moved up through the ranks.
Nice.
Ran their gutter crew for a while, and moved on to a different company, and now I'm here.
Awesome.
That kind of explains then, why, because his age group is kind of like the start of, what everyone likes to call the millennials, and, they don't want to work hard, they just want to come in and make the max money right away, not put the time in.
Right.
I want to sit in the front seat right away, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And him and I mean, Colin's older than you, but, him and the guys that we have in his age group
Yep.
that are here, they're few
Yeah.
and far between.
Right.
Like, we don't get that many guys that are passionate about it
Right.
and are skilled and know what they're talking about.
Right.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
I feel comfortable. If anyone doesn't know, this is the my eyes and ears in Maryland. I mean, he runs all of our new construction stuff down in Maryland. He manages our install crews
Yep.
and does a hell of a job at it. But I can trust that what Tyler says on a job site, I don't have to second guess it. He knows what he's talking about. And he's also able to work with technology very well. You know what I mean? Like, my generation was right in there in the middle. You know what I mean? So I know how to do it the old school way, and I helped bring the technology
Just
in.
going on.
Yeah, right. I think my year is the very first millennial year.
I think Tyler.
Generation X.
Yeah, but he's still, in that age group where he knows the old school, he was taught by an old school.
Fortunately,
and
he
can do
fell
the
in
technology.
line with the right people at the right time.
Sure.
And you're very fortunate, because there's a lot of people that didn't have that opportunity. And it's a shame that things, and in my eyes, had slowed down so much, from 2008 to whatever it was before it started to pick back up again. What did I miss?
They were just talking about Tyler Fairline, that's all.
Gotcha. That sucks.
Oh, God.
Maybe we can work on that for you, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll work.
Go fund me for a tattoo.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, hey, a little spray paint.
We're okay. But, yeah, now I lost. Now I'm thinking
I was talking to Chris
about
today, Beach Creek. When I first started here, it might have had 30, 40 homes in it.
Mhm.
This past week, we just put our last roof on in there.
Wow.
300-400 houses deep in that
At
development.
least.
And it's crazy looking back on it. Like, I've seen every single one of them houses
Yeah.
and worked on
Yeah.
75% of them.
Right,
Yeah.
and when he couldn't come up with a job title, just so you know, you're project manager, projects
Yeah.
manager. You know what I'm saying, just so you know, that if you got a business card or whatever, or a title or a signature at the bottom of your email, that's what it should say.
Yeah.
Just so you know that, you know what I mean, and sometimes we're not perfect, and giving people a title sometimes is all it takes to be like, okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
I am a part of this thing.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I can make a difference, and you do make a difference. Without you, he couldn't do what he does.
I'd be lost.
And we couldn't
For
continue
sure.
to keep doing what we do up here if you weren't in Maryland. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's for damn
For sure, and like I said, man, there's few and far between, between you guys
Mhm.
and him. There's a few guys my age, Colin's age, that are passionate about it. But once you get younger than us, man, you don't have very many 20-somethings, especially teens. Let's talk about teenagers, man. I mean, we got a hungry 17-year-old that just came out of high school that's killing it in Maryland right now, and I love it, man, because
His body just came through.
yeah, Mason's coming in, he's doing a good job, and it's like, those kids, let's talk about the Horizon guys. You know what I mean? The guys that run that crew.
That's a different breed.
They don't make them like that anymore.
No.
They don't. That
Yeah.
work ethic,
Yeah.
working 30 hours straight to get stuff done,
Yeah.
they do not make it like that anymore.
We were here, the other night till whatever, 9 o'clock? They were just pulling in. Mendez and Nate were just pulling in.
Yeah, I don't even
That
think
was a
they're old
couple
enough to
times
drink
this
yet.
week, I think, or last week.
Mendez,
Yeah, they're not even old enough to drink. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
what we're talking about. When Denny says, you know, this isn't easy,
Mhm.
you gotta work for it.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta put the time in, you gotta
Yeah.
put the hours
Right.
in. But it is very, very lucrative and rewarding if you put those
Absolutely.
hours in.
Well, in this industry, some days you'll have hard days, some days you'll have easy days.
Right.
And you'll have rain days.
You know, but that doesn't, don't take that into consideration, because there's always time to make that up. Because I think a lot of people say, what about the days that it's, snowing or that it's raining? It's like, well, we plow snow when it snows, we shovel snow.
We already got stuff lined up for tomorrow, instead of rain.
It's,
Right. Right.
I've, guys here come in, they say, they start, they're working on that here and talk to Derek, what do you do if it rains, Derek? Here you go, we'll put windows in. Huh? Oh, yeah, we put windows in the rain when there's 2 feet of snow on the ground. They just look at Derek and then they look at me and I go, well, yeah. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do we do when it rains? We get wet.
And you got it in the rain.
We're in the water management business.
Yeah.
We work.
Now, there's some things that you can't do, but correct me if I'm wrong, guys. If you're gonna be on a job site, let's just say you're starting a job at the beginning of the week and you see rain 2 days from now. You're probably gonna save that soffit work
Yes.
for Wednesday.
Porch
Well,
work,
yeah. Right.
Because you see in the future, and that's part of what managing a job is.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You have to say, okay, this job's probably gonna take us 5 days. I see 2 days of rain in here. Guys, let's get all this exterior work done. Let's get
Yes.
the roof repairs done. Let's get the metal work done on the outside. All this inside work and under porch work, we can do that in the rain. So
That's
we're not
what-
just-
that's-
and that's called being efficient, man.
Yep. Or you already have 50 hours and it's like, you know what, I need a little break.
Yeah.
I need a rest.
Right, absolutely.
Yep.
We always tell the guys, man, I'm not gonna force you to come in and work in the rain, but if you wanna work, show up to work.
Yeah.
We'll find something.
And most of them do.
Yeah.
We'll find
Most of them,
something.
everybody does, very rarely do I, unless they call and you say, hey, you don't have to.
Yeah.
But I think most people just show up. That's
We
what's
got a good team, man.
Yeah, and it goes back to the culture that we're trying to build and form and cultivate. I mean, it's a journey.
Right,
You know what I mean? There's not a finish line to this. It's a journey.
right.
And that's the thing we need to keep in mind. Sometimes we make a decision that requires another decision, but we're working through it. And we're trying to move quickly through it and figure it out. The whole CRM thing. I go back to that because that's been such an obsession of mine to get that thing hammered out. But we're starting to finally see light at the end of the tunnel. I think with that, and everybody's getting on the same page with that, and it's going to help us scale.
Yeah.
And that's that technology.
Yeah, Tyler can speak on that. When he first started here, you started as a service guy. And remember, I was writing you guys
Yep.
paper tickets.
Mhm.
And then we moved into data format and had to learn that whole new system. He was one of my first guinea pigs that ran with data format. We ran that and we kicked the crap out of that thing. You know what I mean?
For
Like, we
sure.
ran that thing and we mastered it, we got good with it, and then we brought in job progress and, started that system. So, I mean,
Yeah.
he's been there for a lot of those changes,
Uh-huh.
and now you're not only have you ushered in some of those changes, but now you're on a different level. Now you're in a supervisor position, where you're going out and helping the fresh installs and stuff, and helping me if I'm not around. You handle some of the stuff that I'm not around to do, but it's ever evolving and ever adapting, and you gotta be that way in today's world, man. Like you have to be conscious of what could happen. You know what I mean? And like we started the show off with, thank God we started doing that process, not really knowing how important that
Yeah,
was. I
seriously.
mean, that was so important, man.
Yeah.
Like, how lost would we have been if I was still writing paper tickets and the governor closed down that Thursday?
Losing
Dude, it would have
tickets.
been horrible.
I remember losing tickets and you had no idea what we did because we lost one ticket of the day, then you had to try to figure out what you gave us for that day.
Everything was 2 copies. I made tickets, I made 2 copies of it
Yeah.
because if they lose one, I still need to know which one they lost. You know what I mean? And like,
Yeah.
it's just crazy. And it's fun going back in some of our job ledgers and seeing the photocopies of some of the old tickets and seeing the different handwritings on
Yes.
it and, seeing all the dirt and mud on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring one back and it's got coffee all over it.
Yeah, because it blew out the truck because somebody left the door open. They chased it down through the muddy field.
Yep.
Yeah,
Go out
man.
the window. No.
That's good stuff.
Absolutely.
So, I guess, just to sum this all up, man, we got, a lot of different generations here that chose trades over college, didn't listen to what everyone was telling them to do, and are living pretty good lives, man. And, you know, they can see that, you know, we're a pretty good company to work for, as far as, you know, when it comes to ushering in the new technologies and trying new things, and the sky's the limit on things, you know what I mean? Like, the guys don't really have a limit to where they can go here. With that said, we have to still talk about the 21 Turkey Store.
Absolutely.
Let's not forget to do
Yeah.
that. We got 3 minutes left here. We're probably gonna go into
You gotta
a
know
little
for
bit
these
further.
7 minutes if you want.
Yeah, we didn't get a woo yet tonight. Not your woo. Man, a woo in a while.
I forget what got him on that, man, but I still look back.
Yeah,
We got a good Bruce we did years ago. I remember we got a woo out on that.
Yeah, we were talking about having to tear roofs off that he already installed
Yeah.
15 years ago.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Um,
That's exciting shit right there.
that is, dude.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
That's
we're all in the
really
same generation.
cool. That it lasted, you know what I mean? You put it on, it lasted its whole life, and we're gonna put it on again.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That's really cool. And that speaks to quality work, it speaks to craftsmanship.
Yep.
And, you know, just talking about when you were saying, you know, we gotta be able to still pull from the old school.
Mhm.
You know, there's things that we can pull from the old school, the work ethics.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Having passion about what you're doing. You know what I mean? Giving a crap about your end product.
Right.
Because anyone can just go throw a siding on the wall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's gonna function properly.
I've been on roofs regular to watch some of our roofers flash. I look at them and I go, what is that?
Yeah.
And then I show them the way I was taught, and they're looking at me like, what is that? That'll never work. The dude
Yeah.
that works. It's been around a long time.
Yeah.
And I see Derek get on the roof now, and he flashes. And he flashes that way.
Yes.
You know, and he has picked up so much,
Right.
and there ain't much he can't bend.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's it.
Yeah.
And that's you.
Yeah. That's what.
That's 100% you, man. You know what I mean? Like that's where, you know,
And now he's teaching.
right, absolutely. And that's where, you know, you were able to decipher the old school from the new school and take somebody in and
Yeah.
have the patience to
But
teach them.
Right.
Because some guys can't do that. Some
Here's
guys are
where
not
I
teachers.
struggle on the old school. I ain't gonna lie, I still struggle on the computer sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's, like I said, like I told you before, I can't spell nothing. You give me a number, like word number, I can't spell nothing. When I can't get spell check halfway close,
Yeah.
I'm on my phone trying to talk to it, see if I can get it worse, I can at least get it close. It's not good, but I struggle on computers, and that was always a joke with Denny. They don't make an OtterBox for a computer. That was always a joke.
Yeah. I don't know anybody that I've seen or I've taught that caught on to the brake as fast as Derek.
Yeah. And that's hard, man.
That helps.
That's
And I
hard.
don't know if it was his machine background or he knew a little bit about the brake when he started, but
Yeah.
he caught. It did take him long.
Yeah, the thing with brakes, Denny, you know, that's one of the most challenging things that you can do because 16ths and 8ths of an inch,
Yeah.
and you gotta read them little lines on the tape measure. Because
I-
that's the difference of something leaking inside.
I've been a metal outside.
Difference of a bead of caulk that big and a bead of caulk the way it's supposed to be.
absolutely.
You know
I've
what
been
I
an outside corner the other day out of aluminum to put on a house we were doing,
mean?
and Cody was like, "You been in?"
Mhm.
Yeah. He goes, "I had to do that 100 times."
Right.
You know, it just
I remember drawing a picture of an F channel that I needed. Just drawing a picture and told him I need this. Some crazy had to go over PVC board, go up behind siding.
Yeah.
Showed him a picture, he went to break. Here it is.
Yeah.
And it took me hours to figure out how to.
Yeah,
bend
sitting there
the-
scratching your head, which way do I gotta hold it
Yeah.
down? Which side goes in first? And that's not the only part. So let's talk about how challenging it is. Okay, so you can draw out your design on a piece of paper, but what bend do you start at?
Exactly.
Because you start the wrong bend,
You can't.
Well,
next thing you know, you're like, I can't get this in here
Which
anymore
side
because
you
I bent
want?
this first. Right.
Yeah.
I
Which
remember
side of the
one
metal,
of
which
them,
side you gotta flip. You know,
Yeah.
so there's a lot that goes into that. So,
Absolutely.
you know, anyone that can hop on a break, you know,
There's definitely a
you're
skill trade.
Right.
Sure.
That's definitely one of those skill trades.
and you probably learned on one.
Oh, yeah.
A
The slide.
J-brake.
Yes.
That's what I started off with.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
Press, you know, stick it in, hope it stays, run to the
The
end.
original one used to sit back there. I'm not sure whatever happened to it. I think we ended up throwing it on Tom's truck that one time, and I've never seen it ever since. But that was my original. It was a J brake. Yep.
That's what I started on.
Yeah. That's what I learned with too.
Yep.
They didn't have the double bend back then.
Right, or a bird box.
Yeah.
like a true bird box on a home, you could never get to one side.
Yeah.
You could
Is it a
though.
square?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could though, you know?
Yep, make sure you got all your tabs and everything, so
Yeah.
everything, everything's watertight, you
Yeah.
don't want to see gaps, no air gaps.
No way. No, and I remember where I went through this kit where there was no caulk and all hidden fasteners on wrapping windows. You know, like just trying to perfect that, and I was talking to Chris Mendez and Nathan here the other day, because they showed me a picture of a place that they're plowing in their own grass, and I had wrapped some bay windows. It was new construction. Why? They built the bay and put windows in, and I said to them, I said, next time you're in there, take pictures of those windows for me, because I want to see what they look like, because there's not one bead of caulk on them or one exposed fastener. I figured out how to like tab everything, slide it together, double hem it where it would tab together, and I was into it. Like I had, at one point in time, I had seriously honed my craft, and that's what it was a craft.
Yes.
I mean, to do things on a scale,
Yeah.
fast paced, but we were good at it. We were good at what we did,
Yeah.
man, and it was something we took pride in. You know, being 3 stories off the ground, wrapping windows, that's not an easy feat.
That's what I started with, man, doing sheet metal. And
Yep.
the guy that I learned from, Chad Beckley, he would build you a suit of armor out of sheet metal with nothing but hand tongs and snips, man.
Mhm.
He would literally build you a functioning armor if you wanted him to.
Right.
He could literally bend anything. You know, you look at something, we would do a lot of coping, so you would have weird angles, and you got 12-inch faces, you got to keep your tabs, and you bend this thing up and you have 3 different bends in the thing and it fit perfectly, right, like a cat, man. No caulk needed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's an art.
You can
really
see
is
it.
an art.
It's
Yeah.
being able to see it.
Yes.
In your head.
Yes.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
I watched the video the other day of a guy bending a Scottish cross for a church steeple, and I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, and he was an older gentleman.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
And
it
you
was
want to talk about how to
just
make a money.
amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
Scottish, for one, church steeples out of copper. You know, that ain't, and I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
I was really like, I sat there and watched the whole
Yeah.
video.
Solder it. Then you
That's a
put
trade that you're going to make good money.
Solder it.
Yeah.
You know
Like,
how to
a lot of
bend
copper
metal.
work before.
And work metal,
Yeah.
you're going to make money.
Make Scotch cross, like,
Yeah.
all that flaring and stuff.
Yeah.
It was, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's definitely a lost art right there.
So 21 Turkey Salute.
Yeah.
21 Turkey Salute. 24 South 10th Street. It's going to be Wednesday the 24th of November. And it's going to actually be the 100th episode of Behind the Tool Belt.
Big deal right there.
We got a lot going on. If anyone hasn't seen it, class it all over Facebook, man. I'm going to mention something right now because I'm extremely proud of it. Last Thursday, we were actually given an award by YBA
Yes.
for our volunteerism in the community.
Actually,
Out of all the contractors in the YBA, TC Backer Construction won that award. And, I made a little bit of a Facebook post, and, one of the things that I first said to everyone when we got up from the table at that awards banquet is like, anyone in the industry can put roofs on, can, install siding, can bend metal, can do this stuff, can mow lawns, can design stuff.
Yeah.
But can you make an impact in your community? You know what I mean?
Right.
Can you actually make a difference in your community and care enough about your community to want to do that? You know what I mean? And that's something that we should all be proud of, man.
Yeah.
Everyone that works at this company, all you guys watching,
Yes.
you guys should be proud of that, man.
I'm glad you
Like,
brought
for
this
real.
up.
You guys should be proud of this because I have goosebumps right now talking about it. That means something, man.
Yes.
That means something.
Yes.
And we won an award for what we did last year. Wait till they see what we're gonna do this year and next year and the year
Right.
after that, you know what I mean?
Right. Well, let's go back, and this is how humble we are. We don't even talk about the Crispus attic. I can't think of the person's name award that we received for in Lancaster.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So, but my point is, I can't even remember the name of that award. But I'm glad that you had brought this up because we need to get together. Everybody in the company needs to get together for a group photo because this wasn't me. This was we that pulled this off. So you guys are the ones that should get the recognition. And I thought about this the other day. I was like, I thought that I was being humble by not posting anything on Facebook and you know, taking a picture of it or whatever like that, because I don't ever want to be that guy like, hey, look at me, okay? But how selfish and self-centered of me was that by not sharing that with you guys, by not putting that on Facebook and giving everyone a big shout out, because this, okay, yes, so I'm going to toot my horn just a little bit, okay? I was the knucklehead that came up with the idea, and I'm sure it was influenced with some decisions, so really, I may not have been the only knucklehead.
You came up with the idea on an episode of Behind the Tool Belt.
But you guys are the ones that followed through with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what's really cool too. You know, to have the faith that, hey man, let's do it. And all pull together. We did 21 turkeys at the same exact time. Who does that? Who even thought about that?
I mean, someone did 20 before.
Possible. And if we even thought, no one would even think that's not even possible. Though when you tell me that we did 21 turkeys, they're thinking, well, that's a lot of turkeys in a day at one time.
Yeah.
We actually did 30 total.
And we had a fun time doing it.
It was a blast.
You know, it ain't like, you know, everybody had a fun time doing
It
it.
was a blast. So,
Absolutely, man.
I don't care if we want to set something up, we'll get both awards out, okay, that we won. And we'll get a group photo like Friday morning. I think it's going to be shitty tomorrow. So we should get whatever time, 6:37, make sure everyone's at the office, at the shop, 7 o'clock Friday morning, so we can get the awards out and maybe hold up the 21 Turkey Salute banner from the year that we won this and you know, just enjoy this together because it was you guys. You know what I mean? And I apologize for not posting something, but we'll post a picture. Anyone else that had been able to gather photos up from either the event last year or the event last week that we were at, let me get them so we can make a really nice post.
Well, there is a YouTube thing, somebody, I did see.
Yeah.
Cool. So we'll get that and we'll make a real nice collage of pictures and videos and stuff that we can post on Facebook so we can all, it'll be in the archives then. If it's on Facebook, so we can always go back to it and it'll show up on our memories. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's something to be proud of, man.
Absolutely.
And with that said, that's not why we do this. You know what I mean? We
No,
do this
right.
because our leader instilled in us that you got to give it away to keep it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
First and
So
foremost.
that's one of the things that sticks out in my head that I hear him say all the time. We got to give this away in order to keep it. You know what I mean? If we're going to continue to be blessed, we need to keep giving it away.
Yep.
So, and not only that, man, but the impact that we make and the feel goods that we all get and how it brings everyone together
Yes.
for the common goal.
Yes.
The lives that we change, even if it's just for one day. You know what I mean? It gives people hope.
Yep.
That you know someone out there really does give a shit about them.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Enough that they're going to have a warm meal tonight when they have nothing to be thankful for.
Yes.
They can be thankful that somebody gives a shit.
Listen, and the cool thing is, man, it's extended out further than just that one day with supplying the food pantry. Instead of spreading the love and giving it away in all different kinds of areas, because that at first I think that we were like, you know, with the butterfly net, we're like, let's save this and let's help that and let's do this. We had decided, why don't we focus on the Union Lutheran Church, because Pastor Joel does so much great stuff in the community. He's got self-help meetings that are held there. He's got a like a clothing shop that if you don't have clothes, you go in. I don't even think you got mine. Okay, and he's real picky about those clothes. 'Cause when we
Yeah,
wear-
so we all wanted to.
He's real picky about, so it's not junk that he's got hanging, he's got shoes, he's got clothes, coats, hats, things of that nature. He's got the food pantry. You don't have to go down there and pay for food.
Right.
If you need food, do you know what I mean? So we have made an impact
Yeah.
for the entire summer, hopefully.
Right.
You know what I mean? With donating the food and then all the donations that people, you know, that donated the money and stuff like that, that all went towards them. All of it did.
Yeah.
So we made a huge impact. So don't think that we just, and it is, we want it to be more than just Thanksgiving. Every day down there should be Thanksgiving. Every day. We should treat every day like Thanksgiving. What are we thankful for? Why are we thankful for it? You know, how did we get here? Let's not forget how we got here.
Right.
You know, and just gotta give the way to keep it. I can't say that loud enough, and I can't be more proud of that.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Absolutely.
I mean, what I liked about the food drive, you know, I know everybody wasn't there, that little kid, nobody was there.
That was
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, throwing stuff down, talking and all this, and,
Yeah.
you know, you have to
Give us a thumbs up every time
Yes.
we see something.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, that little kid, I mean, that spoke a lot.
Yes.
You know, that little kid.
His upbringing,
Yes,
Right.
that spoke a lot. I mean,
Yes.
and that might be a future worker down the road.
you never know.
You know, I mean, he might see, okay, look at these guys, you know,
Yeah.
your health, trying to help everybody out.
Yeah,
You know, it looks like they're all driving nice vehicles and everything.
yeah,
And we all get into construction industry.
yes. You know, and it's much more than just a monetary, you know, reward at the end of the day. It's really what we've tried to promote most is the fellowship and the camaraderie. And that's what we get out of it, doing things like that. We all pull together as a team to help the community. And that's that alone. If we don't get anything else out of it, is that we grew closer together. You know, and the more together we are, the stronger we are, and the more that we can accomplish together.
Absolutely.
You know, what we can't do alone, we can do together, right, Dave?
Yep.
For sure.
That's right.
So,
So yeah, 24th of November, if anyone wants to come out,
Yep.
please come out. I can't guarantee that we're gonna have a spot for everyone to get their hands dirty.
right,
Just because we have so many people in the TC Backer family as it is, that is already gonna be helping. There's only gonna be so much to do.
right,
But you can always come out, bring your kids, hang out, and just enjoy yourself. I mean, there's gonna be plenty of space. We're shutting the whole street down.
Mhm.
We're gonna have plenty of space this year.
Yeah, man.
And
Plenty
we're
of
looking to
parking.
deep fry 60 turkeys this year. So
60.
we did 30 last year, we're
Then
looking
the
at
birthday.
60.
60,
So, there's gonna be
60
plenty of
turkeys
food.
for 60 years old.
How many we doing at the same time?
We're gonna do 22.
22?
We're just gonna one up it. Yeah, there's no point in doing all 60 at one time. 61. And gradually, hopefully we'll get to whatever episode it is, maybe we'll get up to that many turkeys next year.
Well, you're doing 100 episode this year. You go up that many episodes.
It's a lot of turkeys.
What is that gonna be,
152?
152? Yeah. So
My
we-
dogs want to attack when I get home, so I want to turkey.
I don't know. But all good stuff, can't wait.
Yeah. So if anyone wants any info,
First of all, the way things have been going, you better start reserving turkeys.
right? Turkey shortage.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
I hope that that's a problem. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that like I hope we can't get enough turkeys, but I hope that we get to a point that we gotta get so many freaking turkeys,
Mhm.
we can't even get enough.
So
You know what I
many
mean?
people.
Like
Yeah.
that would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. We
Yeah.
gotta start looking in July or something like that, reserving turkeys.
Yeah, and that's good, and think about the lives that touches, you know, Dottie's wants to get involved, you know what I mean? So
Right.
now they wanna get involved with helping us get the turkeys. Pastor Joel's covering, half the cost, I wanna give him a shout out for that. He's just as much included in this as anyone else. He gave us the facility, allowed us to do it there last year when nobody else would. You know what I mean, nobody else would let us do what we wanted to do with the whole COVID restriction and lockdowns and all that stuff that was going on. I don't remember how deep it was, but I know it was still a bit of a weird time. Enough where other
Yeah.
facilities wouldn't let us hold this there, so, you know, we're co-hosting this thing together with the union and TC Backer, because we couldn't do this without Pastor Joel, because Pastor Joel really is the pioneer. You know what I mean? Without him, we wouldn't have anywhere to go to be able to do this,
Right.
because of the legacy him and his family have created throughout York County.
But in our heading, we have a link to our Facebook page that we created for the 21 Turkey Salute. All the information, new flyer, all that stuff's there, the address is there, the times are there.
Mhm.
We'll be there from 1 to 6. We'll be there earlier than that, but the actual event is from 1 to 6.
Yep.
So anyone that needs any kind of food or anything, come out and hang out with us and check us out. We'll be blasting that, you know, every episode from here until then. We
Yeah.
got eight more weeks until then.
Yep.
One thing I do want to say, we do have a couple contests and poll questions that are coming in the next couple episodes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. We
Yeah.
have a contest that we're going to be starting here. If anyone's seen our flyer, the turkey on our flyer has become the mascot for the 21 Turkey Salute, and he needs a name. So we're going to be running a contest that, you know, everyone can submit your ideas for the name, and I'm not sure what the winner's going to get. Obviously, they'll get to name the turkey, but I think we're going to have some kind of prize or something like that for whoever comes up with the best name.
They get to help pick turkeys.
They get to help pick turkeys.
Vic loved it last year.
Yeah.
That is rewarding.
It is.
There's
It
nothing
is.
more rewarding than that.
Yeah.
So, great episode, guys.
Honestly, he was a turkey suit this year.
Yeah.
Colin?
Colin and Glenn are going to
And
play with
Chuck,
that.
Chuck said, Denny, just start hunting turkey, we'll be fine.
Wayne Scott, thanks for popping in here. We were just talking about giving back to the community and things you can do for your community. That's a big advocate right there. He does a lot for the city of York. He runs the York Bears. I mean, I'm not even gonna, Wayne, I'm not even gonna disrespect you and try to name all the things that you do, because I don't want to leave anything out.
Seriously.
He just does a lot. He does a lot for kids.
Yeah.
He just became a dad himself not that long ago.
Congratulations.
And we see you, bro. We
Yeah,
see you.
yeah.
We appreciate you, man, and we're
Yeah.
glad that we can help any way we can.
Yeah.
I hope to see you this year at the 21 Turkey Salute, brother.
Yeah,
If there's any way that you want to participate or be involved or anything, just reach out to me, man.
yeah.
With that said, thank you everyone for popping on here. You guys probably are going to see this guy for another 108 episodes, since I told him he was good until episode 200. So
Yeah.
Now,
now we realize it's not that bad, right?
what we're
It's not
looking
that
at for
bad.
next week's episode?
Next week, we are going to be live from RoofCon down in Orlando.
Yes.
So we're going to be, hopefully, I'm not sure how it's going to work, so hopefully we'll be able to sneak in, maybe if we got to sneak in the back, you know, dress up as security or something like that, sneak in there, check it out.
Yeah.
I am going to try to do a special live from TC Backer's page on Thursday in RoofCon, so you guys can
Yeah.
kind of see what's going on there, just in case we can't get in there Wednesday. But make sure everyone tunes in next week. We will be on live, myself, Ty, Glenn, Vic, and Lauren. We're
Yeah.
going to try to get
Lauren.
Yeah.
to get on the show.
Yeah.
And we'll be going live from Orlando, so
Yeah.
we're looking forward to that.
That'd be
And
good.
hopefully bringing you guys some of the exciting stuff that's going on with the roofing
Definitely.
industry. So make sure everyone tunes in for 93. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, well,
Everyone finish out your week strong, and we'll catch everyone next Wednesday at 7 o'clock.
yes, sir. Have a great evening.